Thanks. Shaun, I'm going to sneak a question in for you. I know I've got to go to the audience questions, but I'm going to get one in for you, whether you like it or not. Because, of course, we're sitting in a place, at the Newseum, that is deeply committed to the First Amendment. And again, I think many people who will hear this program, who may be listening now, the State Department doesn't do religion. And what about the First Amendment? I mean, we've touched on it, but you have to navigate these waters. We have the separation of church and state, or mosque and state, or synagogue and state. And yet, as Secretary Albright said, we don't separate religion from public life. So how do you navigate these waters and engage religion, religious leaders, religious communities, and yet somehow or another keep the United States from taking sides in religion or promoting religion or seeming to endorse religion? I should think that that's not an easy task. So how do you do that, and what are the guidelines, and do you remember the First Amendment now that you're at the State Department?
Well, let me say, I came from an academic background, that when I came into the State Department, I learned, I think we have something like 83,000 global employees. I think 79,000 are lawyers, which is a good thing, given these questions. And so what I actually brought with me, the last full page of Secretary Kerry's cable is boilerplate on Establishment Clause guidance. So every employee at every embassy who gets this will get a refresher course in exactly what you were talking about, that we have to maintain neutrality. We don't promote religion over non-religion. We have all kinds of requirements how we cannot establish religion. So we have lots and lots of legal guidance. To make it even more specific in our office, we have an internal website for State Department employees. We actually have some case studies that reinforce the guidelines that our legal department has promulgated. And so it is constantly refreshing staff in our office, but also providing this kind of ongoing education to State Department employees.
Do you want to reveal an example of that? I mean, that's interesting. So you actually go through this as an exercise to see. Yeah.
That's correct.
Oh, that's good.
And so you mentioned the Foreign Service Institute. This is also part of the training there.
Yeah.
We will eventually be working with the Foreign Service Institute to develop more modules in more of our curriculum. And we have to get this right. We absolutely have to be fastidious on observing the spirit and the letter of the First Amendment. So we do have this guideline. We have this guidance, and it'd be part of our job to refresh that and to promote that. We even have a lawyer on our staff. So this is something that is always before us, because we know that if indeed we violate this kind of guidance, we're going to get into trouble globally. So we're having to be very, very cognizant of the guidelines there, and we have to be constantly consulting them. I will not read you the 30 pages of legal guidance, but it is absolutely fundamental, and it is a part of our identity, it's part of our DNA, and it is part of our training and our approach to these very complex questions.
In a way, it's a great model to say that, going back to Madam Secretary's comments about we separate church from state but not religion from public life, it's a model for how that can be done, rather than going one way or the other. We don't mention religion, we don't deal with religion, or in some way we take sides, we promote, we have an agenda, a religious agenda.
That's correct.
So what you're trying to do is to say we don't have a religious agenda, we're not taking sides in religion, but we are engaging religion.
That's great. I often say among those 82,000, there's only one trained theologian. So, and so we have no competency to promote a particular, even if we wanted to, which we don't. We do not have the competency to try and promote any particular theological view. So we're very, very clear that that's not part of our identity, but we actually avoid that explicitly.
Oh, that's very helpful, at least it is to me. I